So here's a little tutorial with helping you study for the next vocabulary quiz, which will include the words from lesson 4, as well as the varying sentence beginnings and the sentence types. So some of the items might look like this. So it contains an adverb clause. So what we want to think about adverb clauses, it begins with a subordinate conjunction. Okay. And here's a couple samples of subordinate conjunctions: because, since, when, if, until, whenever. Okay, there's a whole list of them on that PowerPoint, which has been posted on Blackboard. I advise you to look that over again, same one that was shown in class. So with complex sentences, again, we can start it with the independent clause, follow the dependent clause, or we can start with the dependent clause followed by a comma, or independent clause. Okay, and again, we're thinking of dependent clauses. In our case, we're thinking of adjective and adverb clauses. We'll get to the adjective clauses in a moment. Okay, when we think of adverb clauses, they're going to start with a subordinate conjunction. All right, so for example, we could do a sentence this way: when Simon learns the truth, he feels the need to inform the other boys. Okay, so this is a complex sentence. This is our dependent clause, and since it begins the sentence, we want to have a comma after it. And here's our independent clause: he feels the need to inform the other boys. As mentioned before in class, if we get rid of the dependent clause or the adverb clause, what is left is an independent clause or a complete sentence. Okay, so that could be a sample of the first one, the adverb clause. Now with an adjective clause is going to go after the subject, comes after the subject, and begins with a relative pronoun. And we said, at least the slideshow suggested, that our relative pronouns are who, whose, whom, which only refers to things, and that. Okay, so those are our relative pronouns. So let's take another sentence, and we'll take it out of current events. Nelson Mandela, who died last week, comma, emerged as a great hero in South Africa. Okay, so this is right here, this is our adjective clause, and here's our independent clause. And again, we'll have commas around it. So if I deleted the adjective clause, I would still have a complete sentence. Nelson Mandela emerged as a great hero in South Africa. Okay, so we're subordinating this information because what's left is much more important, the fact that he was a great hero. So that's really what an adjective clause is. It serves or functions as an adjective, and it describes the subject of a sentence. Okay. So you might see sentences like this. Begins with a present participial phrase and is a complex sentence. So we know the present participial phrase begins with an ing verb. So we could have something like sledding down, let me at least spell it correctly, sledding down the hill, little Bobby felt free as the wind blew into his face. Okay, so here's our present participle phrase. Here's our, what kind of clause? An adverb clause, because it starts with a subordinate conjunction, and as is another one of those subordinate conjunctions. And then what we're left with, if we get rid of our participle phrase, and if we get rid of our complex sentence, we have an independent clause. Little Bobby felt free. Okay. Present participial phrase. adverb clause. Okay, let's look at a couple more. Begins with an infinitive phrase and it's a compound sentence. So let's try this for a moment to continue with our snow theme, our snow motif. Shovel the snow. A person needs either a snow shovel or he can use a snow blower. Okay, so here's our sentence. Infinitive phrase begins it, and here's our compound sentence. Independent clause, here is our coordinating conjunction, and another independent clause. Okay, so again, a compound sentence, if you remember last year, your sentence patterns is I, and then you can have a coordinating conjunction, or even a semicolon. And your coordinating conjunctions, again, are your fanboys. Okay, put that up here. Your fanboys, followed by another I, or independent clause, followed by a period. Okay, so again, one of the things to keep in mind here is you need a subject verb, coordinating conjunction, subject verb. You need it on both sides of the sentence. Alright, just a little bit more here. Absolute phrase, we know what that is. Noun followed by an ing verb, or a noun followed by an ed verb. If it asks for a subordinate conjunction, right away you're thinking about an adverb clause. Right? A couple other types of items you might see. Relative pronoun. If you see relative pronoun, you are thinking adjective clause. Again, these are just different ways of saying the same thing. An adverb and adjective clause, let's do one of these, and then I think we'll be all done here. Standing in line at the grocery store. Now I'm just going to start this with a present participial phrase. Mrs. Smith, who loves to go shopping on snow days, bought her children brand new chocolate bars. I hope they're brand new, because she loves them. Okay, so that's what we have here. Mrs. Smith bought her children brand new chocolate bars would be our independent clause. Here is our adjective clause, and here is our adverb clause. Okay, so that's pretty much what the quiz will look like. Hopefully this tutorial helps, and if you have any other questions, please let me know.